All right, y'all. Welcome back to the Who's Right podcast. And hey, we're back at it again. A new week and still no Pete, but that's okay because we're moving on. Before we get started, Victor may or may not join us, but um, um, subscribe to the channel, like this video, let us know what you're thinking, and even give us your comments on replay, but make sure to like the channel. Um, but yeah, so a couple guys reported to spring training yesterday. Showed up, and we saw the clips of Reed Garrett and Ronnie Mauricio, and everybody's excited to be there. Clay Holmes did a live BP, and so things are happening, and it's a great time, and I know next week is a Super Bowl, but we are excited for baseball. Can't wait to officially kick off the season the day after the Super Bowl. But big shout out to Jonathan in the chat. Good to have you. And but What do you think? Of the live BP by Clay Holmes. He's looking good, but obviously it's the first day of it's not even the first day of spring training, but he looked good out there, and Ronnie looked like he's ready to go. Christian Scott doing his routine, and we're excited for some baseball. Can't wait to get things going. Big question mark remains: is Pete Alonso going to ever sign at this point? Just seems crazy that he's still not signed, and with no kind of prospects or anything out there for him, other than from what we hear, Blue Jays and us and the Mets. So don't know what to make of that, but it's okay. It's all right. Last week we made a signing. We signed Nick Madrigal. Is this the end of Jose Iglesias? A lot of people are saying no, but I think it is. I know people were going crazy last week when the signing happened, but I don't understand. I don't understand really why the fan base is going nuts over the last man on the roster, or second last man on the roster. He's not like, I know we had the good vibes last year. I know that he meant a lot to the team, but as we know, he's not a superstar. So to expect him to continue to have at his age the season that he had last year, to me doesn't make any sense. And for us to be going nuts about. Nick is a younger potential version of Jose, and that's and it's not a guarantee for him to make the roster, right? Because I still think that Luis Angel Acuna is the guy that they want slotted for that spot. I really don't understand why fans are going nuts about it. Because at the end of the day, um, don't we want to see Luis Angel play? And if we have Jose on the team, that means Luis Angel is not playing, and that's that's what it is, because Jose Iglesias, after having a season that he had with us, is not going to accept a fight for your spot contract on the Mets. If we think that's what he's going to do, I think you're crazy by thinking that, because he's not going to want to do that. He's come off a great year. He's come off a time where he's like he almost quit the sport. So He gave it one more shot because the Mets told him exactly what was going to happen, and he said, "Okay, let me try it one more time." And he did, and he played well. And Jonathan says, he wants Iglesias back because he plays hard and doesn't take anything for granted. And I agree, completely agree, because he's had to fight for his baseball career. Um, you know, um, he was out of baseball until the Mets signed him last year, and so I do agree he fights for everything he got, but young players do the same too. Young players want to be up here as well, and we saw the potential of Luis Angel. At least as a utility player, like Jose Iglesias is going to be, and at the end of the day, that's what you want. You want guys to play hard at that spot, because they don't play every day, and I think Luis Angel can just fill that spot. Because Jose is going to want a guaranteed major league contract. If you tell me that we could have had him with a non-guaranteed major league contract and not take up a roster spot, then I'm gonna say, okay, let's do it. But I don't think that's what Jose wants. He hires Scott Boras. Just for the fact that he hired Scott Boras is telling you that he wants a major league contract and he wants the guaranteed roster spot because he's a pop star now. Come off a Grammy winning award. He's I don't think he's at the point of his career that he wants to fight for a spot anymore. He's going to want to play, and a team will pick him up. Yes, it's not going to be. It may not be a contender. It may not be, or it may be a contender, but he's going to want a guaranteed spot. And that's really where we are with Jose. But the thing is, at the end of the day, he's the last man on the roster. I would ask you, Jonathan, who would you rather see play, Luis Angel Acuna or Jose Iglesias? Because I want to see Luis Angel play. I want to see what he's got because, we keep last year. We did the same thing to Vientos. You know, we wanted to see Vientos play, but then we signed JD Martinez. Um, you know, um, and that's if everything would have gone, I won't even say right. If everything would have gone mediocre, meaning that Beatty would have not been terrible, he would have just been okay. We would have never seen Vientos. We would have never seen Vientos if that would have been the case, and that's the part. If Beatty would have been okay, and I get it, you want Jose because of the good vibes, but I personally don't believe that he's going to have the same year he did last year. He was above what he did for his career last year, and in a not a full year. He was breaking down at the end of the year, because he is older. At the end of the day, he's older. He's going to be 35. And so he wasn't healthy in the playoffs. Iglesias wasn't healthy in the playoffs, and we got to take those things into consideration when we talk about Jose Iglesias. Is that he didn't play a full year and he wasn't healthy at the end of the year. Because playing at that level, playing hard, like you mentioned, Jonathan, at that age takes a toll on your body. And he just he was tired at the end of the season, and he was wearing down. And so, and I think he has, some nagging injuries, not something that's going to keep you off the away from playing, but he had some nagging injuries, and that's the thing that we have to take those things into consideration. One, it's a great season, one of the best seasons I've been a part of as a fan in a long, long time. Maybe the best season I've been a part of as a fan, because I was 10 years old in '86. So so it's one of those things that um, you know it was a great year. But just like the Pete saga, if the Mets are moving on from Pete, we shouldn't get too wrapped up, because at the end of the day, before that home run in Milwaukee, I would say 50% of the fan base wanted him gone, if not more, with Pete. And because we can't just bring back the same club every year, because that's not how you win. You make tweaks. There was how many guys that the Dodgers let go before they got this team? Let Seager go, let Turner go, Scherzer went. I could probably, I'm just thinking off the top of my head now, and they let go uh, two really good at the time. Well, Seager still, and Turner is still a good shortstop. Two really good shortstops. Um, Shortstops is one of your main positions, and they let go of two of them. So the fact that fans say we can't let go of some of these guys is crazy. Just because if you want to be competing with the Dodgers, or Dodgers East, or be like the Dodgers, Dodgers let guys go before they got to this point. They let a lot of guys go. They traded Yordan Alvarez to, they had Yordan Alvarez in their system, Seager in their system, traded for Turner, and they let them all go. Guys, that's a really good team if you would have kept them. You're right. If you would have kept Seager, moved Turner to second, kept Yordan Alvarez. Come on, that's a team, right? Replace Jordan with Teoscar, um, Turner with Lux, and leave Betts in the outfield, and have Seager as your shortstop. That would have been an awesome team, but they let those guys go, and the fact that we can't let go of a Jose Iglesias is baffling to me. When a team like the Dodgers has let go better players than Alonso. It just baffles me that we get. I was in a couple spaces last week, and how people were going nuts for Jose Iglesias. It just is mind boggling to me. And I know everybody wants him back. I want him back. But I also wasn't going to be heartbroken that he doesn't come back. And at the end of the day, this doesn't mean he doesn't come back. We could be here a few days before spring training. He's still unsigned, just like last year with JD Martinez, and he might come back. And who knows? Because maybe there isn't another job out there for Jose Iglesias, which is also telling. If he stays out there till a few days before spring training, you know, it was telling for JD Martinez. JD Martinez, yes, gave us 1-2 months of good ball, and then fell off the cliff, right? Because of his age, right? Everybody ages at different times, and when it's your time, it's your time. It's over. And that's what happened. That's what happened last year with JD Martinez. And if the same thing happens, we sign Iglesias, and the same thing happens as JD Martinez, what are we going to say? We're actually going to blame Stearns for doing the same thing, going back to the well and failing because it didn't work, right? We remember JD Martinez fondly, because he helped Vientos, not because of his bat. you know, and if we keep Jose Iglesias, who's he helping on the team? Because he's taking the spot of a young guy. So who's he helping? He's not helping anybody. So that's the thing that we need to get. Yeah, Jonathan reminded me of Mark Canna being offered a minor league contract last week. That's where we are. That's where Mark Canna is. Time catches up to everybody. We don't want to believe it. We don't want to. Uh, we fight against it all the time, but time comes really quick. So you got to take advantage of the time you got, and who knows? Mark Cannon might come back as a minor league contract. I'm all for, because that's just depth, right? Um, don't want him on the roster. I don't want to see Mark Hanna play, but as a minor league contract, it doesn't hurt. It's like the Joey Meneses contract. It's not something that we need to get too crazy about. But it's a thing that we kind of enjoy having some depth, right? Because that's what makes a major league club is having depth when things don't happen. When, let's say, somebody goes down and you give him they have to go on the IL. You give them a couple, a week and a half off and bring Canna up, right? So that's not a bad signing if he does sign. But Victor's with us, and wanted to give him an opportunity to talk on the Jose Iglesias front. We've been talking about Jose Iglesias for most of this time, and I'm like, I'm not too worried about letting him go. Jonathan in the chat was like, we want him back. Give us your thoughts, Vic.
Yeah, what's up, Franklin? What's up, Jonathan? Excited to have Alex Madrigal back, or sorry, Nick Madrigal. We knew Alex Madrigal before, but he's a first round draft pick, number 4 overall, and he's got some high upside. So obviously his time in the league hasn't really turned out to be what he wanted it to be, but at the end of the day, Jose Iglesias was good, and he was magical. But we can't live on the dreams of last year. I think you talked a little bit about it too, and he would have been a great option for us to have like a stopgap guy in the fold. But right now, we don't really need a stopgap guy. I heard you talk a little bit about Luis Angel Acuna being that guy that they want to give that opportunity to, and that's probably the case. Who knows if Nick Madrigal is going to get a lot of this, a lot of the playing time. Right now, it seems like they want to give the young guys a chance, and that's even evident in the Pete Alonso negotiations. One of the reasons that they're not urgently signing Pete is because they feel like they have a lot of these young guys in the fold that can step up and play these roles that a Jose Iglesias or a Pete Alonso could have. And so don't I'm not happy that he's not going to come back, because obviously he could have recreated the magic. He would have come out with another song of the summer and set us off for a 10-game winning streak. But at the end of the day, this is about winning championships, and David Stearns is going to do what's best for us as the Mets team to win championships. And honestly, the way I look at it is, it's like looking at two sides of the same coin. They're kind of the same guy with a little bit of different features, and so love the signing. But he has even more high upside than Jose Iglesias. So, and I heard you mention giving out some love to Mark Canna. Who would have known? Because you were trash talking him for the longest time. Canna Corn would love him back too. There's just no room for him though. So would love to have Canna back, even if it's on a minor league option. would hate that he's on a minor league option because I think he'd be better than some of the guys that we'd have up here on a major league option. But we'll see how that turns out.
No way. Like I said, like I just said, Canna. I don't want him on the major league roster. As a depth piece comes up for 10 days or so, to give somebody an IL stint, I'm all for. But I don't actually want to see Mark Canna on the team. So the love is at the minor league level.
Well, I'll tell you what, his glove is great, better than a couple of players that are going to be starting for us. And he's still got that bat in him. He's a league average bat. He doesn't have anything special. He doesn't hit for power or average, but he's able to get on base and create some magic sometimes, and that's what he did when he was on the Mets. It was unfortunate the way that he bounced around a bunch last year because I thought he deserved better. But at the end of the day, we're not sweating over it because again, the Mets are just trying to create some depth, and you can only create so much depth because we have so many young guys that are going to be trying to fight for a spot. And I like the philosophy that David Stearns is going by. Make sure that you have the guys available in case these other guys aren't ready. And that's the kind of the feel that I'm getting from this roster that he's constructing. He's putting guys in positions to fill the gaps where if the young guys don't perform, then we're going to be okay because we created that depth. And that's what good teams, that's what good competitive championship uh, caliber teams do is they create that depth so that they're not relying on these young guys being magic because we've seen this Mets team in the past do that where even just a couple years ago, just wait until Brett Beatty comes up or the baby Mets come up because they're gonna change our roster, and that didn't end up being the case, and so this is the way that it should be done, and like Jonathan said, Luis Angel shouldn't be on the bench, but if he plays so horribly that he has no other choice, like Brett Beatty kind of did, we didn't have another option for Brett Beatty but to bring up a guy like Mark Vientos and give him a shot. So now instead of bringing up a Mark Vientos, we go with another. I wouldn't say more trusted, but more tested guy in Nick Madrigal.
Well, and to answer Jonathan's question statement there, we have a we have an older team. It might not look like it because of the year that Lindor had last year, but he is 31 or going to be 31, and he can't play 162 every year. I believe going forward, we got to save his legs, and we got Nimmo with the planters. So I see Luis Angel playing a lot. We got Soto that's not going to play every game. And so I don't think I could see him playing some outfield if um, you know McNeil's a great outfielder. Well, not a great outfielder. That's a strong word. He's a good outfielder. So when Nimmo and Soto need a rest, guess what? Guess who's playing second? Angel, so at least Angel's going to be playing second. And so I think he's not going to be sitting on the bench. I don't think today's MLB uses the bench like it used to back in the day, right? Where the guy never plays. I think there's a reason why they want that guy to play multiple positions, and it's because they want to have him play all over the field and give guys rest. Right? You're going to see him give Vientos a day off. Right? You're going to see him to give Lindor a day off. You're going to see him give McNeil a day off. You're going to see him give Nimmo a day off, Soto a day off. right? All those things are going to happen, and there's going to be a lot of playing time for Luis Angel because that's how today's MLB is. That these guys are going to be playing a lot. They might not be. They're not going to play obviously 162, but they're going to be playing a lot, and I would rather see Luis Angel play a lot and see what he got because, like you're right, we got a log jam of middle infielders. Jet Williams is on the way up, right? Not we signed Nick, but he's not going to block anybody. Beatty's there. It's his give or a make or break year. I know we said that last year, but we're we extended it a year. This is it for Beatty if it doesn't work out. Either he becomes a career minor leaguer or he gets traded and tries it again somewhere else. But this is it for Beatty as a Met. And so when you sign Jose Iglesias, you block all that from happening. And again, it's the last guy on the roster. And talking about the seasoning with Luis Angel, some guys just don't do well mentally in AAA because they want to be in the show. And that's kind of what we saw last year with Luis Angel. He's a guy that was doing good, was doing well. Then he got to AAA and kind of was struggling a little bit. And honestly, if it wasn't for a Brett Beatty injury, we don't see him. And so if and then we see him and he starts to perform and he starts talking about that he can see the ball better. um, you know if that's true, it can be. If that was just his mindset change because he's in the major leagues, who knows? Honestly, we don't know. But I think at this point, we got to give a guy like Acuna a shot at playing at the major leagues.
I don't know. I think you're giving Luis Angel a little too much credit for what he did last year because we saw Brett Beatty kind of do the same thing in his short stint when he came up in 2022 with the Mets, where he had a great week where he was on fire and created some magic. His first hit, his first hit was a home run at Truist Park. And we were like, man, this guy's the future third baseman. He's the next David Wright. And a year and a half later, 2 years later, now we're here like, is Brett Beatty a major leaguer? Does he fit on this roster? And so I'd like to see Luis Angel a little more tested because he was doing things at the major leagues for that week he was up that he was never doing in the minor leagues. He was hitting for power. He was hitting home runs. He wasn't stealing bases, which was interesting. I don't know what the case was there, but his glove was still there. And like you said, that's always valuable in the major leagues. And so, if anything else, even if if he starts the year with the major league club, then at least he's providing value for himself by being able to spread the field, play all over the field. Because, like you said, he plays center field and shortstop. Those are the two most valuable positions that you can play in baseball. And if you don't have a bat, at least you can fall back on your glove. And we see that with Jose Siri and Harrison Bader and all these guys that can play those positions. And so it's still going to be a competitive spring training. I don't think any of these young guys are guaranteed to make the roster because at the end of the day, it's great the roster we created, but we're still in need of a good bat. All these gloves are great. Brett Beatty is a great glove. Luis Angel is a great glove. Ronnie Mauricio is a great glove because he plays shortstop. And I'm missing some. Even Chet Williams, you could say, is a good glove, but they haven't proven themselves as major league hitters yet. And so that's going to be the defining line between all of these guys is who is the best hitter out of them all. And all of these points that we're making about their gloves could be irrelevant at the end of the day because they're not doing anything with their bat.
Oh no, for sure, and no one said that Acuna is going to do exactly what he did that week. That's not what I'm saying. I'm saying you got to give him a shot and see what he's got. Because I don't know what he's going to become. A lot of people are saying he's just going to be a utility player. So I don't know. I'm not going to sit here and tell you that that's what he's going to become, or that he's going to become a utility player. That's for the scouts and all those guys that see him play every day. But what I'm saying is that we got to see these guys play. That what are we going to do? These guys are knocking on the door, and just like Vientos probably sat in the minors a year and a half too long. If you heard us from when we started, that's what we were talking about. We were talking about Vientos coming up, or trading him, because what are we doing? And we finally thought we were going to see Vientos, and we block him with JD Martinez. So that's the thing that I don't want to see. I don't want to see us block a guy, and for a guy that's going to give us a month of good baseball, because that's what JD Martinez gave us.
Yeah,
He
no,
gave it.
absolutely. That's exactly what happened because even when he made that signing last year, we were both sitting here like, well, I guess it's a good deal because of the contract, but I was here complaining because I wanted to see Mark Vientos up, and for that month that he didn't even get to play, because JD Martinez was warming up, just rotting up down in the minor league. So definitely don't want that to happen, and I am kind of grateful that it seems like the Mets have made a plan to kind of prevent that this year.
Yeah.
And so they made a couple of spots open. One spot that I hope that is not open for them, I'm going to bite at the forbidden fruit in Pete Alonso. We know that those contract negotiations might open up again, and that's all I'm going to say is that that's the last bet that I would welcome in. Anything else is kind of a waste of a spot because we saw that we're kind of seeing that on the pitching side now, where pitchers haven't signed yet, and we went out and signed guys like Griffin Canning really early and kind of clogged up that spot for maybe Brandon Sproat that might not have a well, he'll have a spot if he plays well, but it might take a little longer now because he kind of blocked his because we have so many pitchers on the roster.
And
So or we could have gotten someone else that's not a Griffin Canning instead of getting him at the price we did. So yeah,
but to go with that, I think any pitcher that we signed, that guarantees a spot would block Sproat. Canning doesn't block Sproat. Blackburn doesn't block Sproat. If Blackburn, let's say Blackburn's our sixth guy, and Blackburn isn't doing well, and Sproat is doing well in AAA, guess what? Sproat's coming up. you know, Clay Holmes may not be blocking Sproat. So that's the thing we need to see that if Clay Holmes not doing well, he's going to go back to the bullpen. He knows that, and so none of these guys that the only way that they're blocking Sproat is that they're doing well. And guess what? We're going to be happy if they're doing well, but that's the only way that they're blocking Sproat. And that's the thing that we need to understand, that these guys, yes, they signed early, and I don't know which guys you're thinking about that Mets could have signed, because Jack Flaherty just signed with the Tigers. I don't know who else you were thinking that the Mets could sign. But I'll throw that back to you.
I'm thinking guys like maybe Nick Pivetta, but more on the trade side because we've been talking about getting guys like Michael King or Dylan Cease, and so those guys, if we do sign them, will push somebody out. Somebody's going to get pushed out because those guys are high leverage arms, or those guys are top of the rotation arms. And one thing that I will say about the rotation that we built is that almost every guy, with the exclusion of Senga and maybe Frankie Montas, has experience in the bullpen and has pitched well in the bullpen and is able to be transitioned from there. Because we've heard the rumors of Griffin Canning potentially being that long reliever guy. Clay Holmes was finally asked if he could pitch in the bullpen. And obviously, he doesn't want to, but if push comes to shove, then that might be what he has to do. But each one of these guys that we've signed, even a Jose Budo, a Tyler McGill, even a David Peterson, if they don't pitch well, they have that kind of optionality to move to the bullpen. Because right now we've seen our bullpen, and I don't know if you like it or not, but it could definitely use more depth. We could, our bullpen looked different from the beginning to the end of the last year, and so we always need more depth. We obviously picked up Stanek as that as another depth piece, and so that's a great move. But the great thing I like about our rotation right now is that we can move guys around. So inviting uh, another arm in that rotation might not hurt in terms of pushing the guys that we have now out. But if we do sign or bring in Dylan Cease or Michael King, then we might not be seeing Brandon Sproat until the postseason when he gets to pitch in high leverage.
Yeah, no, and for sure, and he might be coming up like a bullpen piece if everybody's pitching well. For talking about Sprout here, and guess what? Stearns did that all the time. Burns did that for Milwaukee when he first came up. He came out of the bullpen. So if that's the case, I'm all for it. To have a guy like that in the bullpen. And that's the thing why it may look different. Why bullpens look different is because some of these young guys that are potential starting pitchers, and because our team is having a decent season or a good year, are become bullpen pieces at the end of the year. So that's why the bullpen is ever flowing. I love the Stanek pickup. And maybe on a better team, he has a better season overall. And so we'll see what happens with that. But at the end of the day, into the playoffs, he turns it on, right? So we'll take it. But on Michael on Cease or King, you know, I know everybody's saying that Michael King's not available. But if we trade for somebody, I'd rather have King because all I can remember from Cease is him being taken out of out of the game in against the Dodgers last year. And so that kind of, yeah, he might give you great numbers because he strikes out everybody. But when he doesn't strike out people, he's vulnerable. And I'd rather have a king, rather roll with a king, if I had a choice, because all I can remember from Cease is him being taken out of the playoff game against the Dodgers. And if we want to beat the Dodgers, that's not a scene that I want to see.
Yeah,
So
you know who Dylan Cease kind of reminds me of, and this might not be the best comparison, but he kind of gives me like Edwin Diaz vibes as a starting pitcher because he's that two pitch pitcher. He's got two pitches where he throws some flame and then tries to throw you off guard, and if he doesn't have it, then guys are hitting him out of the ballpark or just hitting him like crazy, and so we that's a give or take. That's a blessing and a curse. So if you like Edwin Diaz as the pitcher that he is, or if he gives you heart attacks like he did me last year, then you're gonna love Dylan Cease. And Michael King, he's more of that strategic guy that he kind of has these. I think he has a five pitch mix where he can throw everything but the kitchen sink at you, and is able to kind of do it strategically. But here's what I'll say: that's all great, and I love pitchers like that because we had a couple of guys like that. Like Jose Quintana was a guy like a Michael King last year, where he didn't throw flame, but he was able to strategically paint the zone. And obviously Michael King has had less time in the league to develop on his stuff, but he's an older guy too, and he's a year older than Dylan Cease, so it's not like their age difference is much different. The reason I would say I would appreciate a Dylan Cease more is just because he's been proven, he's been able to do it for a few years now, but also the stuff is just not nastier, but just I don't know how to describe it, but I would rather have a Dylan Cease type stuff because obviously it's a hit or miss. Jacob Degrom was a hit or miss guy for a while, and so were a lot of these great pitchers in the league. If he develops another pitch, I think that would set him apart from everyone else. Because obviously, if you have two pitches, you're guessing either way, one way or the other. But I think he has more upside than a guy like Michael King in terms of being able to be a and obviously this is a 1 year deal, so this doesn't matter as much. But being a proven uh, uh, major league hitter for a longer time.
Yeah, no, for sure. And it's I at the end of the day, I don't think either one would hurt. So but again, we're going to be giving up some stuff if we make a trade like that. So keep in mind that if guys start doing well on other teams because we traded them away. Remember, we traded him away, so and it's okay because that's part of the game, right? Everybody does it. So Braves do it, Dodgers do it. It's just part of the game, but and it's a 1 year deal. I'd rather trade for somebody that has a little bit more control if there's an opportunity out there. I think you know, the crochet, since we were in on crochet, tells you that I think that's where Stearns would rather do it with somebody with more control. But if we trade for a Cease or King, I'll be all for it. But yeah. Other than that, a lot of rumors, a lot of talk, and nothing happening. so, so we're gonna kind of leave it there because guys showed up for spring training. We're excited to see those guys early in camp, and excited for the official start of baseball next week after the Super Bowl. I just can't wait. I'm looking forward to this season. But before we get out of here, subscribe to the channel. Like this video. And on replay, let us know your comments. Do you agree with Jose Iglesias? What we said about Jose Iglesias. Should we trade for Dylan Cease? Is our bullpen complete? Let us know what you're thinking on replay, and let us know how you're feeling. And before we get out of here, Victor, any last words?
Yeah, I better about any of you Mets fans rooting for the city of Philadelphia in anything. So if you're watching the Super Bowl this week, I better wish for nothing to happen, for there to be an ongoing struggle between these two teams, or for the Kansas City Chiefs, because as Mets fans, we don't like the city of Philadelphia. And so that's me speaking as a Giants fan as well. But goes for us too as Mets fans. We don't like Philly. Come on, let's go Chiefs.
Yeah, nobody wins. All right, guys. Until next week, let's go Mets.